everyone, thanks for checking out the latest video forecast from the Vector Weather Team. This is forecaster Nathan Kitchens here. The main headlines continue to be the risk for severe storms on Wednesday. We are looking at potential for a fairly significant severe weather outbreak on Wednesday, and it's definitely a forecast you need to keep very close attention to. In this forecast update, I'm going to show you the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center. We're going to look at a lot of data showing you different parameters we're looking at for that severe weather potential tomorrow, and the timing and where the greatest potential, the area where the greatest potential for severe storms will be tomorrow evening. Let's take a look at, first off, I'm going to show you the water vapor. Let me get the temperatures off here. I'll show you that in a minute. But first, look at the water vapor image this morning. Boy, we have this ribbon of moisture coming in right off the Pacific. This is the subtropical jet stream here, starting to bring in plenty of moisture across the south into the eastern part of the country. Along with that, we've had record warmth, and warmth will continue to be the story here. Looking at temperatures, 50s across the 50s and 60s this morning. This map came from 9:45 Central Time, Eastern Time, as this one 8:45 Central Time. See plenty of warm air across the northeast into the mid-Atlantic, the south here. Cooler temperatures across the west, and this has really been a story all month. And these areas are looking at a lot of snowfall, and we're looking at significant amounts of snow setting up across a good part of the west over the next few days. And looking at the current watches, warnings across the state, across the country, lower 48, we're looking at all these winter storm warnings. Anywhere in pink, that is a winter storm warning. So the Rockies, the Sierra Nevada of California, many areas here are going to see a lot of snow over the next few days. The skiers are loving this forecast here. And we also have some dense fog advisories this morning across parts of eastern and central Texas here, a good part of Louisiana, Mississippi, and western Tennessee. A lot of low-level moisture in place here, and also some dense fog advisories here in northern Georgia and parts of the Carolinas. Flash flood watch in portions of central and southern Georgia and the southeast Alabama and the panhandle of Florida. Significant rain totals are going to be possible across this area over the next few days. Next several days, a lot of rain is going to fall. And a winter weather advisory up here in Maine, northern Maine, and we also have a winter storm warning here along the Canadian border of Minnesota and North Dakota. Looking at the severe weather risk for the next few days. Today we have a slight risk in place across eastern and northeast Texas, southeast Oklahoma, and western Arkansas, and northwest Louisiana. That will not be really until we get to tonight. That storm system begins to take shape. Storms are going to blossom here this evening and overnight tonight, and so we're going to watch for the potential for storms to become severe across this area, and even here along the Gulf Coast, we still have that marginal threat across this area for later on today and tonight as well. Wednesday is the big severe weather day for us. That storm system is going to rapidly strengthen, head to the north. We have a strong southerly flow in place where we have a enhanced threat here across southern Kentucky, a good part of really the western half of Tennessee under the enhanced threat. Enhanced threat continues for northwest central Alabama and into the northern half of Mississippi. This is the area where we're seeing the greatest combination of shear and instability setting up, coming together in this area for those severe storms, and a slight risk, which is the standard risk that in that yellow, from Indianapolis to Lafayette, Indiana, to Bloomington, Illinois, all the way down to the Gulf Coast. So pretty large area under the gun for severe storms potentially on Wednesday, and also that marginal threat and green shading also expanded outside of that slight risk as well. So pretty large area under that threat. Looking at the probabilities for severe weather, this is within 25 miles of any given point. These are pretty significant probability values from the Storm Prediction Center. These are 30% risk here across that enhanced threat area here in that red, and 15% in the slight risk, and a 5% chance in the marginal threat areas for Wednesday. Let's look at the severe weather risk heading into Christmas Eve, because we're still going to have at least a chance for some severe storms, although to a much lesser degree, on Christmas Eve across parts of the south and even up into the mid-Atlantic. So stretching from the Gulf Coast of Mississippi through a good part of Alabama, Georgia, all the way up into the mid-Atlantic states. We cannot rule out some severe storms on Thursday, although the main dynamics will be gone by this point, so we're not looking at the huge severe weather outbreak on Thursday by any means, but still at least a chance there. We're going to have enough instability in place, certainly, for some severe weather on Thursday, on Christmas Eve. So let's talk now about the rain. I already mentioned the flash flood watch across this area through here, and you can see why. Look at these rainfall totals. I mean, this is ridiculous. A lot of rain. We're seeing along the panhandle of Florida here as much as 3 to 6 inches of rain possible. We could see up to 7 inches of rain, maybe over 7 inches. You know, depending on where these storms set up, you can get localized higher amounts. So tremendous rainfall totals across northern Georgia here for the next few days. This is for the next 5 days, I should say. So this goes all the way into next weekend. But look here in parts of the Ohio Valley, into parts of Missouri, down into Arkansas, and even in Oklahoma. We're going to be watching this area, especially heading into the weekend. We're going to see one front moving to the north on Friday, on Christmas Day, and that will stall out this weekend, riding through here. And that's going to be the train tracks for rounds of rainfall. There could be very heavy rain setting up here this weekend, so that's something we have to watch very closely. Flooding potential certainly is there. And also look at all the moisture across the west. I mean, a lot of this, look at these totals here. We're talking over 3 inches of moisture. You equate that to snowfall, and you can see why we're talking about potential for snowfall in several feet across many of these areas here. The Sierra Nevada of California, a lot of moisture, a lot of snow is going to fall. And also here across Colorado, Utah, you name it. It's a lot of snow is going to fall in these areas. Cold temperatures in place, and we have all that moisture. You get a lot of snow. Skiers are certainly going to enjoy that. Let's look at the prevailing pattern in place right now. We have ridging across the east and troughing across the west. This has really been the dominating pattern throughout the month, and it just continues to keep on keeping on here. Ridging here in the pattern, you see the trough here across the west with all that moisture. We're getting all that snow. And looking at the setup for Wednesday, I'll get off here for a second and show you. Heading into today on Wednesday, here's our setup. We have that low pressure going to be strengthening, moving up northward in the Iowa. So it's just east of Des Moines by the early afternoon tomorrow. This is actually be noon central. You see a strong southerly flow pumping in plenty of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and very unseasonably warm temperatures streaming well to the north. Unseasonable warmth for this time of year, and we're going to have that chance for severe storms across this area on tomorrow. And looking at the instability for tomorrow, these values are pretty significant for December. You see values here in the yellow. That's where we're actually seeing over 2,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE. And you can see here we're getting closer almost to 2,500 joules per kilogram here in this little area here, getting into western Mississippi. This is actually at 6 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. And we still have decent values here expected all across Alabama, through Tennessee, and up into the Ohio Valley, into the southern Great Lakes here. This will all be sufficient for severe storms tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Our main window for severe storms tomorrow will be from 3 p.m. to midnight Central Time. This doesn't mean we can't get severe storms before or after that, but that's the main time frame. And we've got to stay on very close alert for severe storms tomorrow evening across this area, across the south and into the Ohio Valley area here. And also the moisture is another ingredient we look at. We have very unseasonably high amounts of moisture in place. We're talking 60-degree dew points up here in central Indiana, near 60 dew points all the way up into southern Michigan. Goodness gracious. Dew points near 70 across parts of the south here in the peak purple shading. That's where we're actually seeing dew points above 70, so very impressive amounts of moisture. This is more than sufficient for those storms. And looking at this map, I really like this map. This is looking at the CAPE, so the instability in place, and along with that, it's overlaid with the winds, the wind barbs here from the surface to the middle levels of the atmosphere. This gives you a good indication of the speed shear and directional shear that we have in place here. And what you'll notice here, the red barb here, that's wind at the surface, and the middle barb here, that would be winds at about 5,000 feet. And the top barb here is looking at winds at about 8,000 or 18,000 feet up into the atmosphere. And this is giving you a good indication of how those winds are turning with height. And you can see here across all these station plots here, we have the winds varying with height. We certainly have that turning with height, so plenty of helicity in place, a very important ingredient for tornadoes particularly. So we definitely have that setup here where we can see tornadoes coming out of this severe weather setup tomorrow evening. This map is valid at 6 o'clock Central Time tomorrow evening. Looking at the significant tornado parameter. And these values, I will tell you, these values are pretty significant that this model is printing out here. This is the NAM, the 4 kilometer NAM, and it's showing you values here in the anywhere you see this pink and purple shading, that's where you're getting values of over 5 units. So very, very impressive indices, numbers showing up here for that significant tornado parameter. You can really see where, on the past few maps, how you can really see where the best ingredients are coming together in this area, riding through here from central and northern Mississippi through a good part of Tennessee and in the northern and central and western parts of Alabama. This is the area we really got to watch. That's where the greatest potential will be for some tornadoes tomorrow evening. Doesn't mean you can't get a tornado here. Doesn't mean you can't get a tornado in southern Alabama. But the highest chance, the best ingredients will be coming together across this area riding through here. Looking at the reflectivity for tomorrow evening, this is the very, very high resolution NAM. The 1 kilometer NAM showing you the reflectivity for tomorrow evening. Just giving you an idea of the nature of these storms that will be developing. Notice the lack of storms here along the Gulf Coast. This is good because this will mean that this will not be robbing of that moisture here across this area through here. Won't be impeding that inflow, and so we're going to have, looks like supercells developing through here. It's supercell nature type of storms, and with these we have to watch for damaging winds, tornadoes certainly, and large hail will be a possibility as well. But certainly the tornado threat is something we have to really keep an eye on across this area heading into tomorrow evening. So going back to the models here and showing you as we go forward here once we get past this setup here tomorrow evening, we're going to see that front kind of stall out here on Christmas Eve. We'll still have that risk for severe storms across a good part of Alabama and into northern Georgia and all the way up into parts of the Mid-Atlantic. On Thursday, ahead of this front, we're going to have sufficient moisture and warmth and some decent instability values in place for some severe storms in this area running through here on Christmas Eve. And as we head into the day on Friday, Christmas Day itself, we're going to watch a warm front lifting to the north. We're not expecting severe weather on Christmas Day itself, just general showers here. Maybe a clap of thunder or two in this band through here as this warm front is lifting to the north. And some snow breaking out on Christmas Day night across parts of the northern plains here. And heading into the day on Saturday, next weekend, we're going to watch that front kind of drape through here. Remember when I showed you the rainfall map and it was showing you over 4 inches of rain potential in this area through here? And this is why we have this front that's going to be warm front moving north, stalling out. And we're going to see rain just continuing to fall across this area for a good part of next week. And you see the bands, rain after, just the rain just continues to fall here for an extended period of time. And that's why we have to watch for flooding. Let me go back here. Sunday afternoon, watch this storm system. We have a 1001 millibar low pressure here near Wichita Falls. And we have a huge snowstorm taking place here. This would be Sunday, around the middle of the day on Sunday. We have very heavy snow breaking out here from New Mexico to Panhandle of Texas, Kansas, and Colorado. This is a lot of snow across these areas. And heading into Sunday night and Monday, we'll have to watch for maybe some severe weather here across the similar areas that are dealing with severe weather for tomorrow. We'll have to watch again early next week for this storm to produce some severe weather again. Another warm, moist southerly flow. We have plenty. Instability will be more of a question here because we are dealing with potentially a nighttime situation. The timing right now looks to be like Sunday night, Monday morning. Not the best time for instability, so at least that could be one factor that could eliminate our severe weather chance to a degree. But nevertheless, I think the potential will still be there for severe storms from the storm Sunday night into Monday. And also what we're watching is for that significant swath of snow. This is going to be a huge snow producer, folks, across parts of the plains here. Heading into the late weekend and early next week, we could see totals, maybe a foot of snow out of the system across some of these areas heading into this weekend and early next week. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Looking at total snowfall here, well, actually, I'll go back here. Bottom line is you can see the potential is there for a lot of snow from that storm heading into early next week, late in the weekend, early next week. But look at the snowfall potential between now and Christmas Day itself. Basically, you're going to have to go from a line from, let's say, Green Bay, Wisconsin to Albuquerque and points to the west. Points to the east of that, you're not going to see snow on Christmas Day. So basically the entire eastern U.S. and the south, certainly not dealing with any white stuff for Christmas Day itself. But look at all that snowfall here across the west. I mean, we're talking several feet of snow across parts of the Sierra Nevada here, the Rockies. Some really, really heavy snowfall totals, and this will certainly have a big impact on travels across this area over the next few days. Okay, so that will I think that'll wrap things up for now. Thanks for checking out this latest forecast, and be sure to check back on the severe weather potential, because the potential is there for a fairly significant severe weather outbreak heading into today on Wednesday. Again, the main time frame continues to look to be from about 3 p.m. to midnight Central Time. I'm going to try to post another update either late tonight or tomorrow, so be sure to check back, stay updated. Take care.